Good morning, traders. Sorry I'm a bit late getting started this morning. Apologies. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Well, we got a gap down. So the first order of business is going to be a gap fill that is pushing up to 42.31 and looking for resistance there. Okay, so that's pushing up to right here, 42.31, yesterday's low, looking for resistance there. If the market can't, it can poke a little bit up, but if it can't really get up into yesterday's range, then we look for further downside continuation. As the gap and go is the most bearish scenario, or if it fails to even fill the gap, if it fails to even get up there, that is also a gap and go, which is the most bearish situation. If it's able to get back up in the gap and then continue higher into yesterday's range, well, then we can look to target the repair of this weak reference that we left behind, 2 week references actually that we left behind yesterday at 42.69. So if we get into yesterday's range and we don't pull back down, that becomes the target. But if we get resistance there, it's further downside continuation. All right, so now let's zoom out and take a kind of like a little bit bigger picture at what's going on here. What I think we are seeing is a rejection of the balance area, the previous balance area, right? We tried to push back up into it, and we failed to stay up in there. The overnight pulled us back down, so that is considered a rejection of that balance. It's really easy to see if you look at it on the daily candles. So you can see that's the balance area right there. And it was just like as soon as we tried to get back up in it, boom, we pushed away. That's a failure to break into that balance. It's not a terribly bearish thing, but it's just sort of an indication that we don't have the buyers yet, that we don't have enough momentum to the upside. So what I am looking for now, I know I sound like a broken record because I've been saying it a lot, but I'm looking for rotation, essentially inside this area where we had all this rotation before. Whoops. That's a little bit too big. So right in this area right here where we had all that rotation before, I'm looking for the market to spend some time grinding around in there. So to me, this isn't, crazy bearish to see that we're pushing lower here. I'd be looking for support when we get right around the lows from 2 days ago, just to see if we're going to start balancing in here. Again, balance happens in the market when there's uncertainty, when people don't know what's going on. All right, well, gap and go, passing back through the open is pretty bearish. Has a failure to fill the gap, although I would say only 3 contracts at the high. Oh, wait, was today the rollover day? That could be the cause, too. 3 contracts at the high definitely needs a little more two-sided trade. Chris E., good morning to you. Diego, good morning. Mike, good morning to you. Welcome. Cyrus is here. Good to see you. David Glass in the house. Slim Jim, Scooball, Amir, and Tony are all here. Nor Auto Trader, good to see you. Greg, good arg to you. Yesterday was difficult. I am glad I was not alone, but with the brigade. I love it. It does help, particularly in those times when you feel Like you have no clue what's happening. It's funny how there are a lot of brigade members. That's the way they use the brigade. It's like they don't watch the live streams normally, but like if something funky is happening in the market and they're having a really hard time, they get confused. That's when they go open up the live stream and see what I'm talking about at that moment. So yeah, it's kind of nice when you have uncertainty to, at the very least, know that you're not alone in your confusion. Amir says he got a little spanking. David V, good morning to you. Rev, greetings. Skewball. We are opening at average price of 3 days. Well, you know what that means. Balance. The market is rotational on the daily. Is what that would mean. AM Gossel, good morning to you. JG is here with a GM. Good to see you. Philip, good morning to you. Boss Man, good morning. Did I roll contracts? No, I did not. Neither the one I'm trading nor the one I'm looking at, but I guess maybe I should because this volume's pretty thin. No, today is the official rollover day, so I'll wait till tomorrow. When people ask about the rollovers, I always say, like, you can roll over whenever you want. You don't have to do it at any particular time. The important thing, though, is just make sure whichever contract you're watching on the charts, that's the same one you're trading, because sometimes the price points can be a little bit off from one another. So make sure you're looking at the chart for whatever market you're trading. Dean is here. Good morning. Alex, is a gap in the tick chart significant? No, not at all. As a matter of fact, it's quite common. I would say almost every day we get some kind of gap. It's just because the ticks aren't trading in the overnight, so it's like it instantly, when that pre-market trade starts, it instantly absorbs all of it. GM, good morning. Registered yesterday, but having login problems. Will they resolve with time? No, you shouldn't have any login problems. Yesterday, the site had a bunch of problems during the day. It like crashed in the middle of the day, but it should be working now. So if you can't get in, email me at ahoy@piratetraders.io, and I'll send you a link for today's stream and then get it figured out for you when the market closes today. Mike, the current contract has closed the gap. Interesting. But is the current contract now testing the overnight low? That is still bearish. A little bit. CCT, my trading view ES price is different than your window trader. Yeah, you're probably just on the The continued contract? Are you at 42.30 right now? Oh, you know what it is? Jesus Christ, I just figured it out. Okay, so on the window trader, if you have the continuous contract, it automatically rolls on the next day. I see what's going on. So yeah, this is the new contract that I'm looking at here. That's why the volume's so thin. Sorry, guys. Should have figured that out ahead of time. What's the letter for this contract? Help me out, chat. H. Sorry, guys. It's going to take a few minutes for that data to load. Do, 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 do. Cool. All right. So now I'm back on the H. So correct. Yeah, the H had a much smaller contract, a gap to fill, and it did fill that gap. And we are now seeing if we're going to get resistance at yesterday's low for continuation lower, or are we going to break through, heading up to repair those weak references we left behind at 42.69. To do so, we'll need to get those ticks above the zero line to see new buyers stepping in. But it looks good so far. Okay, I'm starting to feel bearish. I won't officially get bearish unless we get below the overnight low. And I wouldn't short it unless we got below the overnight low and then came back up and there was some resistance I could short. Greg H., regarding the roll, I see a 10-point gap between the two contracts. Will March converge towards June price? Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly how it works. They move the weird thing about it is they will move together in terms of if one goes up a point, the other will go up a point, but the price level won't be the same. So I'm really not sure how that arbitrage works. Genuinely, I have no idea. But like I said, as long as you're looking at the same chart you're trading, unlike me a few minutes ago, where I was looking at the new contract on here, but then I was looking at the old one on TradingView, and I was like, what is going on? That's what you don't want. Which is why I'm back to the H on here, so I can watch the chart I'm trading. Harry P, when do you switch to the M? I usually switch the next day. So if the rollover is today, I'll switch tomorrow. There will just be like a little more volume still on this contract today on the H than the M, but I'll roll over tomorrow. Alex, did you see Amazon? I saw it spike after the close yesterday, but I haven't looked at it today. Didn't they announce buybacks or a stock split or something? People love both those things. Yeah, that happened right when they made that announcement yesterday. Okay, well, the buyers are having a really hard time getting back up into yesterday's range. And we can see there are more sellers joining the party than buyers. So like I said, it's getting bearish here, but I won't make the official call until we break that overnight low. Once we do, I will look to sell resistance. So we push below there. When we pull back up, wherever we get resistance, that's the short for continuation. I wouldn't want to guess now that we're going to get it, because we may just find some support and come back up. So I want to wait till we see the resistance as confirmation. $20-to-1 stock split. Jesus. It's actually good though. It's good because it'll bring the freaking price down. There's a lot of people who don't understand that, like, they have the option if they use brokerages that allow for partial shares. You know, they just think, oh, it's a $3,000 stock, I can't buy that. So if they do the 20-to-1 split, you know, your super smart investor will go, I can afford to buy that now. T-Bay acting like it wants to move up, nothing to show downside for all those negative ticks. Yeah, that's certainly an observation that there's more sellers and the price isn't really going lower. Okay, so the ticks are starting to get above the zero line. Can they hold it? Can they stay up there? All right, it appears they are holding those ticks up. So I am bullish That was a quick flip. I'm bullish now, looking for support in this node that was just acting as resistance. So market pulls back down towards yesterday's low, finds support. That turns me into a buyer. Trading Donkey, who knew that 20 nickels was worth more than $1? Yeah, with the stock split. You know, if those nickels were made with real nickel, they would probably be worth more than $1 right now. Design Knob and Q is knocking on Pappy's door. Knock, knock, knocking on Pappy's door. Yeah, I'd say the same thing here. I would say that now I'm looking for support around halfback on the Q. Target to the very least would be like 13,644-ish. So again, keep in mind this first little push up is short covering. It's the people that were going short in here, getting squeezed out of their trades. It needs to come back down and find support before you know for sure this is new buyers that want to continue to take the price higher. So potential support at this point is either going to be halfback around here or this node down here. right, got some questions I missed here. Zoo, shouldn't we at least repair the poor overnight low? That is a poor low in the overnight, but I don't have any statistical probability of repairing it based on it being poor. That's not something that I usually look at, the overnight low. Okay, so potential support right here at the halfback. If not, back down in that node that was resistance earlier. Donkey, it also makes options cheaper, more gamma flows with a lower price, or with the stock split, I mean. Leveraged single stock ETFs are coming soon. Jesus Christ. They really, really do want to turn the markets into a casino. More shiny objects, as somebody brought up yesterday in the brigade. More shiny objects. Design knob, just say neutral. It'll be easier for your brain. Yeah, but I got to take trades. Right? So if I'm trying to figure out, do I go long or do I go short, I must first come up with a bias. Do I think the market's going up or down? And then wait for the entries. Once I have my idea of what I think the market is going to do, which in this case is pull back down into support, and then find some buyers and get continuation higher, I have to decide that first before I can look for the support. Herman, hi to you. Scooball, where do you place your stop? Yeah, if you're willing to give it some room, you could place it down there. But honestly, I would say even like 26 is probably good. If they're going to break through this resistance, I mean, they'll get down there, and that's probably a sign they're going to get through. That's probably the area where you're wrong. If they're going to find support, they'll pop down here real quick, and then they'll kind of grind it in here. Zoo, did you buy your Twitter Ape NFT? Of course not. Of course not. No, no, no. I would never. I think anybody who's buying Bored Apes are idiots. I think they're beanie babies. No, I bought it. Like, that's up there as a joke against them because all I had to do was take a screen grab, change it enough to meet the criteria of copyright laws, and then it's mine. So I put a pirate hat on it. I changed the colors. Mine now. Rocket, yesterday's spike and channel grind was done on light volume. Absorption? Yeah, I don't really know how to interpret that. It's a tough call to make. Was that move yesterday just a chance for people to unload for further downside continuation? Or was it the beginning of a bounce higher? We'll know by the end of today. As a matter of fact, we may know in the next hour, depending on what happens with that overnight low. Scooball, can this support hold? I mean, we have to wait and see. I have no crystal ball. I cannot tell you. It feels 50-50 right now. It could go either way. But if you get into a trade, right, at support, your risk is measured. You already know what you're risking in the trade. So you don't need to be right as long as you're risking less than 2% of your account size. It's okay to be wrong. Dean, from now on, I'll only tell my levels in the brigade. Thanks, man. We don't care if you share with other people, though, as long as you share with us. Nunez, any info in the fact that the value area is above the big volume node from earlier today? No, not at all. The only indication we have from value right now is that it is lower than yesterday, which of course is bearish, right? It's right here. Yesterday's is up here. So being lower is bearish. Does it mean acceptance? No, not at all. Alex, eventually you do need to be right, or that 2% will become 100%. Yeah, but that's the cool thing. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like if you're only risking 2% of your portfolio, you literally have to be wrong like 50 times. Like it's crazy how many times in a row you have to be wrong to completely blow up your account. If you're only risking 2%, you might not make any money, obviously, if you're losing more than you're winning, but it'll keep you in the game. It'll keep some capital so you can keep trying. You know, that's the point of risk management. But yes, to win money, you have to be right. That's the way you do it. Donkey. All good things come to those who wait. I have been lazy about it, though. I need to finish that. RK, I can't follow the 2% rule, not with a dozen positions. Yes, you can. Each trade, you're only risking 2%. So each of those positions is its own trade doing its own thing, and each one only risks 2%. And as a matter of fact, since you're mentioning it, diversification is also a great way to protect your capital. But of course, diversification also reduces your potential rewards. So that's the trick of it. I've never actually heard of that. Donkey, I'll have to research it before I finish my video. Two man ifs. What's up, brother? Take pain, take pain, take pain. You got it. Okay, so above us we have this resistance at 4260, which was a really weird level yesterday. Early in the morning, it was like we built up a ton of contracts there. It was really funky, so I just marked it on my chart, and I was like, I don't really know why I'm marking this, but I want to keep track of it. So I'll be looking for some resistance there at 4260. But if they get through it, they should be able to head up and repair these weak references at 4269. But then, of course, there'll be a lot of resistance right there. Okay, right now we have a poor high. We often get the push away from the poor high, but then come back at some point to repair it. Thank you, 2 Manifs. I will, I promise. All right, there is the repair of the poor high. And the initial balance is now to the upside. Two Manifs, who is next? See, that's the problem. What I'd really love to do is I'd love to make stuff like the original documentary. That was just me cutting down an original doc. I'd like to make the actual doc, but it takes money. Equipment, crew, permits, and of course finding somebody who's willing to let me film it. If there's anyone in the chat who knows any, really big successful traders, put me in touch. Donkey. I mean, why not? Maybe just to make some new friends. Design Nub, you're making a joke, but I would love that. I would love to be able to do a deep dive into the murder bot and spend a year of my life traveling the world, interviewing hedge fund managers and all of these different types of people to like piece together what actually causes it and so on and so forth. That would be amazing. But it would require access that I do not have. All right, so we're testing that support once again. But I don't think it's going to hold this time. I feel like that might have been the buyer's chance to take the market for a run. So let's see what happens. Can this support hold? Two Maniffs, Paul Pelosi. Is that Nancy Pelosi's husband? Is that the game we're playing here? All right, well, we keep poking at this support. The more pokes, the weaker it's getting. Okay, that support is breaking. So I'm going to take myself back to neutral here. And same thing as I said before in the morning. I'm not really ready to short the market unless we get below the overnight low and then come back up and find resistance. But obviously running out of buyers that quickly is pretty bearish to see. Trading donkey. Yeah, Pirate Traders is a shady inside dealer. He flips the banner bullish and then unloads his longs onto his unsuspecting viewers. Uh, Man, I wish I had a big enough viewership that I could do that. I would totally do that. I often wonder that with guys like that dude Ross or whatever who does low cap stocks. Like, does him telling his however many followers, if it's a stock with a very small market cap, does him telling them to get into it cause it to go up? Okay, the NQ is now one time framing lower. Ignore that little gap. That was probably just the software. Oh, and because, yeah, this one's now on the new contract too. That's why. Low volume. All right. So the fact that we got below the negative 1,000, and I was looking for, well, that right there, I was looking for like a little pop because they had gotten themselves overly sold. And I was going to say, because we didn't get it, I'll go ahead and get bearish a little early. But of course, there we go. So now we're looking for this node right around the open to act as resistance. We've also got a poor low in need of repair. Feels like the good old days with this low volatility. Trading McStockster, you are describing the Atlas Trading Discord. They got 25,000 members and only trade penny stocks. Yep, I bet they do move markets, move individual stocks. Trading Donkey ST got into some pretty hot water over this shit. Phoenix knows more about it. Do tell, Phoenix. Scooball, are you going to call rotation now or bearish? Well, neither, right? I need a signal to go to rotation, or I assume when you say bearish, you mean trend down. I need a signal for either of those. So to trend down, I'd need to see the C period get below the A period low, and then I would call it trend down. Or if the C period trades all the way back up above the B period, and then somehow the D period comes all the way back down below the C period, then I would call it rotational. I honestly should still be neutral right now. Those ticks tricked me. They tricked me. I was like, they're oversold, but yet they're getting more sellers. That's bearish. And then 2 seconds after I changed the banner, they came back. But just early, probably still right. Great point, CCT. I got distracted. Oh, no, I just did that whole conversation with the mic off. Damn it. Anyway, okay. Basically what I'm saying is I'm getting ready to end the stream here. Going to go to the private stream. As far as what advice to give you moving forward today, I don't think we have much positive momentum. If we were going to get up here and test these resistances, this was the time. The fact that the C period pulled all the way back down and created a poor low is a sign in my mind that there are more sellers than buyers in this market. We also have value lower, which is another sign of momentum to the downside. But you really won't get a strong break until you break that overnight low. There'll be a lot of short-term traders watching this level because it was poor. So if you do get down there and break that, that will likely lead to some continuation. Until then, we're getting chop, but I believe, in my opinion, it wants to go down. And that's due to tempo and ticks. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you here tomorrow morning.